One of capitalism's greatest tools is convincing you that the only cost is money, right? Dollars or whatever currency you use in a country that you reside in, right? And it's pretty convenient, right? So most of us, we know, hey, we go to work, we make money, we spend that money to gain this experience, to gain this item. We rarely think about the other things that come with that. Now, the first one that a lot of people lean on to is time. In fact, the elites make a mockery of it. They let you know, oh, I do not sit there and do my own laundry because I can just hire someone to do it. And I'm gaining all my time back. So some of us, especially people that have entrepreneurial dreams, we start realizing the value of time. But there are other costs to many things in this world. And I say all that to say, help me as I kind of land this plane. Let's land it together. What's the cost to ChatGPT, right? ChatGPT may be eroding critical thinking skills, according to the new MIT study, right? What's the cost to AI? Now, you think about this from a cost perspective. I know when I've tried to go on ChatGPT, if you ask more than a few questions, it starts telling you you've hit your limits and then you got to pay, right? And you pay. Now you get the ChatGPT Plus. Now you got the ball rolling. It's helping you accomplish so much more. And all you think about is the cost. In fact, you might even start thinking about the one other thing that the ruling class has reminded you is also valuable, which is your time. You start realizing how much time you've gained back, right? But as other people have mentioned, you have to start thinking about the environmental costs in ChatGPT, right? Or these language learning models in AI. You think about places like Memphis, what's going on out there, how much fresh water is needed. But now let's talk about another cost. Critical thinking skills. Can you put a monetary value on that? Let's get into this a little bit, right? Now, I'm using the term cost here so we can really talk about how harmful this is in terms of understanding what you're giving up in order to use this thing that's so convenient, right? So the premise of this is people were divided in three groups, subjects to 1839. And I'm just going to keep this really short. The first group is able to use ChatGPT, LLM, language learning models. They got the brain-only group, which, you know, you had to just use your brain, right? And then you have a third group, which was allowed to use like Google search, etc. So you see the brain-only group, they showed the highest neural connectivity, and then the researchers found this group was more engaged and curious. And then you got the third group, which used Google search, but also expressed high satisfaction and active brain function, right? And then after the writing 3 essays, the subjects were then asked to rewrite one for their previous efforts. But the ChatGPT group had to do so without the tool. While the brain-only group could now use ChatGPT. The first group remembered a little of their own essay, right? The first group that used ChatGPT, and showed weaker alpha and theta brainwaves, which likely reflected a bypassing of deep memory process. Now, I will point out, in defense of everyone that loves ChatGPT, is that this I guess study or research, if you want to call it, hasn't been peer reviewed much. And the person that did this, the group that did this at MIT, was so nervous about the impact in 6 to 8 months that ChatGPT could have, especially on a younger audience, the kindergartners and the 6th graders, 7th, all the, things like that, that they felt the need to sort of publish this right now, right? And right here, right? So basically the ChatGPT users had lowest brain engagement and consistently underperformed at neurolinguistic and behavioral levels. Over the course of several months, ChatGPT users got lazier with each subsequent essay, often resorting to copy and paste by the end of the study, right? So I ask you, what's the price you're willing to pay for convenience? What's the price you're willing to pay for speed, right? I know you're willing to pay money. You're willing to get ChatGPT Plus. In fact, I know you're willing to pay the environmental costs. But we make a lot of jokes on here where we talk about, all right, this stuff is brain rot. The attention span of this generation is gone. But where's the critical thinking skills? But are you willing to pay that cost in your use of ChatGPT? Are you willing to give up your ability to think critically? Are you willing to give up, the type of connections you would have with other individuals in the world itself just to be able to utilize ChatGPT? And are you willing to see a world in which when we all start using this, because I'm not stupid. I know AI is here to stay. Are you willing to live in that type of world? Or like many other things before the internet age and the app age, and are we willing to use these things sparingly, little by little, use them, here and there? Or are we just going to go all in at whatever cost? Yeah.